You know who's a great example of someone who had been counted out but came back and became champion is Oliveira.
Yeah.
Because Oliveira had some tough fights where guys tapped him, guys knocked him out, and there's quite a few fights. And
it's growth.
A lot of people had kind of written him off at one point in time, but then slowly but surely you start putting together these wins and then beating top guys and then looking like a fucking straight up killer.
Yeah.
And to what he is now, it's
What do you got?
fuck, man, that's a good fight. It's a good fight.
What do you got?
Gaethje's a terrifying human being.
What do you got?
I don't know.
I know you don't know.
I don't know.
To see.
Yeah, but that's one I don't know. I don't know.
I'm taking Gaethje on that.
I'm gonna go with
Gaethje's
Gaethje because
dangerous man.
Another guy who's a champion and also is different, Charles Oliveira. And now he has his next assignment as he's going to take on Justin Gaethje down the line. What did you feel initially, right? We kind of thought this was the one that was going to happen. Yeah. But once it becomes official, what was your first initial reaction?
That it sounds right? It's the right decision for the weight class. Charles Oliveira has more than proven that he's the champion.
In the Poirier fight, you truly saw who Dubronx is, and I believe that fight will even give him more confidence going into the Gaethje fight, because remember Dustin and Justin, they went, I mean, it was a bloody Dutch war until Dustin finished them. So Charles Oliveira has to find confidence in that as he heads into this title fight.
I mean, Oliveira had to keep adjusting on Dustin before he finally got it.
That was deep. With the moment he tapped, but might as well, if you're there, just go to sleep.
He went behind the head. You know, he hid the hand behind the head, and he got that ultimate leverage too from that.
Yeah.
That was Charles Oliveira is a bad motherfucker. He is a bad motherfucker.
You know what's crazy, man, is Justin Gaethje has the ultimate equalizer. He can knock anybody silly. He can knock anybody out. But Charles Oliveira, man, he gets knocked down, RC, and the dude just gets up and starts talking like the Terminator. I've never seen anything like it. He doesn't take his foot off the gas. And I think that is what has caused guys so many issues over the course of this title run. This dude's won like 12 fights in a row now. He doesn't lose anymore. Something has changed within him that doesn't allow for him to really look for a way out. Now, Justin does have the wrestling advantage. But who wants to grapple with Charles Oliveira? This is the greatest submission specialist
You're submitted.
in UFC history, right? Like, so it's like you really got to pick your poison when it comes to the approach that you're taking against Dubronx.
Oliveira's a fucking monster, and I'm like,
Oliveira's a monster. People think of Oliveira as not being a monster because there's times that people have beaten him. Like Paul Felder smashed him, and there's a lot of guys that beat him. Cub Swanson KO'd him. Guys have beaten him, but he got better. And you gotta accept that and not think of like when he lost.
Because so many people, well, who gets better at 35? I
don't believe he's 35.
No,
I think he's younger than that. And I think he's 33. And I also think that he got into the UFC when he was 20. And so part of the problem was like he was learning and developing and growing as an elite organization. How old is he? 32.
Oh, okay, wow.
32. So, see, he's been around a long-ass time. But he came into his own over the last few years, which kind of makes sense. Like, he figured it out somewhere around 27, 28. But look, these guys are elite, right? They come close to beating him, but he finds a way to beat them. And the way he does it is so final. The way he beat Poirier, man, that choke was so fucking good. It was so good. Yeah. And that's the same way the world found out about him was Efrain Escudero, who won the Ultimate Fighter. So, who was a very good fighter himself. He fought Oliveira, and Oliveira took his back same way, standing up, and choked him out. And that's when we first saw him. And the first time I recognized him, like, man, this kid is talented. But then it was like his jiu-jitsu was really good, but maybe his striking wasn't as good as his jiu-jitsu. And then slowly his jiu-jitsu and striking merged, where he's like equal. In both of them, he's lethal in. He's lethal in his striking and lethal in his jiu-jitsu. But the difference is his level of jiu-jitsu is a leap higher than most of the people he's competing against.
I didn't realize that.
He has the most submissions in the history of the UFC.
If you go back and listen to my early interviews, I said I wanted to go to the enemy territory like Brazil and fight in that chaos. Them screaming, I'm going to die, 20,000 people. I am 100% confident that when I'm done, they'll love me.